Hello and welcome to Larford Lakes. Now we're actually on the Specimen Lake, just fishing an open match. I think there might be 15-20 of us on the lake today, and it's a lake where I recently fished, well, I fished the Match Lake and the Specimen Lake, but I fished a festival here last week and I was lucky enough to win the festival. Now, I actually had 2 days on the Specimen Lake where I actually drew this bank just 2 pegs up there on one of the days, and I actually caught 187 pound of skimmers, as well as 2 carp in the edge late on, but I caught them on meat shallow and had a brilliant day's fishing. And I drew on the other bank as well, where I had 120 pound of skimmers on meat shallow. So I brought you here today, and that's going to be the basis of my attack, my plan. I'm going to try and catch an early carp or two to begin with, and then fish for the skimmers. And hopefully, I've drawn a little bit close to the corner, but hopefully they're still here, and hopefully we can have a nice day and catch some skimmers. And hopefully it's absolutely carnage in the edge at the end, because normally the carp in here are very, very big. They average probably over 15 pounds, so hopefully we catch some carp in the edge like the last hour. Might be late coming in, I don't know what time they're going to come in, but they're very, very big, so you should see some big carp, should see some nice bream on the meat shallow, and we'll see how it goes. So the bait preparation for today is actually, I've got quite a lot of bait, I'm going to say, because we're on quite a big lake here and the fish are very, very big. On average they're like 15 pound, the carp, as I spoke. I've actually mixed up, I've got 3 bags of the fishery micros here, and it's when it's like this, it's literally half a bucket of micros. Now, to actually soak them, all I've done is put all my micros in a bucket, cover them level with water, not over the top, level with water, and literally as I've been setting it up, setting the rest of my tackle up, I've just been swirling them around, and these micros now are absolutely full of water, can't expand anymore, nice and heavy, and that's really important. You don't want to just give them a little soak and put them in the edge, because when one of those carp comes in, it's 15 pound, remember, is an average size one, so some bigger, you know, with micros not soaked well, they're going to swirl them around and you're just going to have absolute carnage. You're going to get a lot of foul lookers if you don't soak them all. So got half a bucket of soaked up micros, because I'm going to have to feed it quite positively with about an hour and a half, 2 hours to go, depending on where people are catching. If they start catching the edge earlier, I'll feed my edge earlier, and if they don't catch them, I'll feed it later. But normally it takes a good amount of bait to get them in, so I've done some micros, and I've just left them separate for now, but I have done some ground bait as well. This is just a bag of Sonia Baits Power Scopex. Lovely smelling ground bait. You just want something fish mealy, pellety, something with big particles, something that's going to go on the bottom. So mixed up a bag of that. And what I'll do is, like, with an hour and a half to go, I hope, when people are starting to catch in the edge, I'll put it all in one bucket, mix it all together, and I'll pot it in like that. But because I've kept them separate for now, in case I end up having to fish a method feeder for carp if my skimmers don't go to plan. So that's for my edge. For my edge hook baits, I've just got either some worms, now 2 worms on a size 10, great big hook bait, big fish, hopefully they pick them out easy. I've got some 8mm pellets for carp, for slapping to start with, or fishing on the method feeder. These are just some Coppins ones for the hook, and I've got some 8mm fishery ones here which I'm going to feed. Now these ones, they're very light Skrettings pellets, so these ones here, I've just actually soaked them with a Sonia Baits pellets oil, so they sink a little bit better, because they look like they would have been a bit floaty before. So now, hopefully with that oil on them, they should sink a little bit better. So that's them. And then the main bait for today for my skimmers is literally just a pot of 7mm meat. So yeah, meat's the best bait for skimmers at the minute. You catch the bigger ones on meat. If you fish worms and casters, you end up catching little skimmers and little roach, and the fish you don't want to catch. With meat, you end up catching more bream and more bigger fish, and obviously at Larford, you're going to need probably 200 pound to win today, so I'm going to have to catch a lot of fish, and yeah, 7mm meat's going to be my choice for the skimmers. The match has just started, so we'll turn around and try and catch some fish. So the match has actually just started now, and what I've decided to do is just start by like slapping an 8mm. So it's quite windy today, so I've actually chosen to start at like 14.5 metres, but obviously if the wind drops I'll go out to 16 metres. Because normally you can catch an odd, what I'm trying to do basically is just get off to a good start, catch a bonus carp or 2. I'm sure it went under then. And basically I've just got a Coppins 8mm on the band, and I'm just firing in a few of the 8mm fishery pellets, and I'm basically just trying to catch 1 or 2 carp in the first 20 minutes, half an hour while I feed that meat line. So I'm fishing meat at about 11 metres. So I'm just going to feed some meat while I slap an 8mm. So So yeah, the carp are so big in it, you don't need many for a weight, so I'm only expecting like, I'm sure that went under again then. Yes, the carp are so big, so you don't need many. And basically all the time while I'm slapping this 8mm, I'm just trying to get the bream's confidence on my 11 metre meat line, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. All I'm doing is just going to keep rotating the pole round with an 8mm on. 3 or 4 times seems about right, because you're trying to get one of these carp's attention. It's quite a big windy lake. You need to make a bit of noise. That's why I've got a big pellet on, you know, so it slaps on the water and makes a noise. I think the 6mm pellet, especially in this wind, I think it's just a little bit too small. I just don't think you're going to make enough noise to attract one to find your hook bait, whereas an 8mm pellet, they're going to find it a bit better. It's a bit bigger, going to make more noise on the surface, and I just think you've got more chance of catching one. And because this lake's quite deep, it's probably, I've just hooked one now. It's just shooting off into the middle. It's a very big fish size, it's going to bottom me out. Let's go in. Broke me. Not an ideal start. Yeah, that fish just kept, I don't know if it was foul looked or, yeah, it's completely took my hook length, which isn't ideal. Because that was 017 power line, so it's pretty strong. And I've just been snapped straight away, so that's not ideal, if I'm honest. But we'll try it again. I feel like I've had a few bites doing it. It's a shame that snap. It might have been foul looked, because normally in this deep water, they normally plod around. They don't normally shoot off 1,000,000 miles an hour into the middle, so it might have been foul looked. But what I was about to say is that because this lake's quite deep, I normally like to start off about 2.5, 3 foot deep, so you're fishing like a third of the way down in depth. But I'm going to shallow it up a little bit this chuck, so I'm not sure if that was foul looked, because they normally plod around a bit. Because they're so big, they can't really get up that kind of speed, so I'm saying that was a little bit foul look, that was. It's probably moved down a little bit there. So now I've probably set it about 2 foot deep, and we'll just try again. Because that was annoying. It might have been a foul looked carp, that, but it felt big, so we'll try again. Snapped 017 power line, that, which is pretty hefty hook length, so shouldn't be easily snapping like that. So we'll try again. I feel like I had a few bites. Just checking all the sections are together, because when you're flapping, the sections can come apart. So yeah, we're probably 8 to 10 inches shallower than we were fishing now, so we shouldn't have foul up one, but we'll see. See if we get a bite, and give it a few minutes, and if we don't get one, I'll go back deep again, or if we don't get any indications. Trying to feed my 8mm not past my pole, but it's quite difficult at the minute, because 8mm are quite heavy. Feel like it went under again then. But there's quite a lot of skimmers in here, and obviously I'm expecting to catch skimmers on meat shallow, so you might be getting an odd bite off little skimmers on a pellet. Just feed my meat line while I'm fishing this, because that's the whole point of it. Because I don't expect to catch carp shallow on the pole all day, because it never really seems to happen. So yeah, I'll update you if I catch one. Right, so I've just hooked one. Hooked my second one. This one isn't shooting off quite as angrily, it's still going a little bit. Feels a nice big fish again. At the minute my pole's bent double. Just shooting off into. Sometimes by like lifting the pole high it could stop the runs, but it's a bit windy today. Woo! Waiting for a wind gust to die down. Just waiting for him to turn around at the minute, it's Carp. Waiting for the wind to die as well. I did go a little bit shallower, you know, because I thought that first one fouled up, but then I come back, because after about 6 or 7 minutes I didn't have any more indication, so I went a little bit deeper again and I've hooked this one. So obviously they're sitting a little bit deeper at the minute. I think this one's in the mouth, but it just feels like a very big fish. I said I was going to catch you a very big one. This is a very, very big one. It's just coming in now. Oh. Obviously, because they're so big, you can't like get them in fast. You have to, if they want to go, you have to let them go. Always take your time with the first one, because obviously, well, it's my second one, but this is definitely in the mouth, this one. So, like, it's important that on these carp matches you get your first one in, so you get some confidence in landing them, especially when they're so big. So like, just make sure you get take your time and get this in. Like, it's just going off now, so I'll just let my elastic go from my fingers a little bit. I find confidence on this kind of fishing is really important. Like, this is a really big fish. Nice start he is. No, he's not absolutely massive, but it's a double. Oh, just pinged off his fin then. It got me worried, that did. There we are, got him. It's over 10 pounds. Probably, oh, it's probably is 10, 11 pound him, so not one of the massive ones in here, but nice start, you know. Hopefully catch another one or two on this before, while building up that meat line. So we'll just carry on doing exactly what we were doing before, just an 8mm Coppins in the band, slapping the pole over, and yeah, hopefully we catch another one. Right, so we're about half an hour in now, and to be honest, I lost that first one that were foul up, I believe were foul up. He just shot off in the middle and completely broke me up clamp. So they don't normally do that if they're in the mouth. Normally they, because it's so deep, they like to sit a bit deeper and they don't run off a million miles an hour. So I think that were foul looked. And I've had one about 10, 11 pounds, so that was a nice bonus. But we're about half an hour in, like I say. I've had one, I've had no more bites. And before the start I said I'd like to catch one or two on this before going on my meat line. Now, normally at Larford, obviously because I fished the festival here last week, I know pretty much what's been going on, and normally this is normally good for one or two fish, and then you don't normally catch another one. So I've had my one fish, we're about half an hour in. I've been feeding my meat line, so I think I'm going to come off it, and I'm praying the skimmers are there ready to fish for. So just going to start off on the bottom to start with, because obviously I forgot to say, and probably didn't say, but I fed like 30 bits of meat and a full pot of micros on the bottom where I'm fishing, and I've just been loose feeding meat over it. So I'll just see on the bottom, see if there's one there to start with. And then when we get liners, hopefully, to catch the really big weight skimmers, I need to catch them shallow. So we'll just start on this and see how it goes. Wind's dropped a little bit, so I might be able to get my meat out there. It's not the easiest when the wind's slightly in the face to get your meat out there. That was a carp there then, though. Tops, you see that one, Tom? Right, feed the meat. I have to proper like bottom my catapult out to get it to where I'm fishing at the minute, but should be okay. Start on this, see if we get any bites. Had a bite straight away, so that's a great sign. Struck a little bit too much. Obviously now I'm fishing meat and it's like 7-8 foot deep. Maybe a bit more actually, it might be 8-9 foot deep. Obviously you don't want to be striking your rig out every chuck, so it's important on this meat to just do little lifts, especially when you're fishing on the bottom or shallow. You just want to lift your flow. You don't want to strike because obviously, one, your rig comes out of the water and you have to resettle all that rig. It takes time. And number two, obviously the meat comes off all the time, so you don't want to strike your meat off all the time. So it's just better to try and lift if you can, like it went under then. And I just lifted. I'm going to be firing meat in all the time now because obviously I want to get them shallow. It's hard today, the wind keeps changing, so it's hard to fire meat accurately anyway, but obviously when the wind keeps changing as well, it makes it really difficult. But try our hardest, try and get it somewhere near the float to begin with. We'll just see if we get any bites. Oh, there we go. Come on. To be honest, I didn't see the bite on that one, so could have been a small one or just not hooked properly, so it's okay. Start again. It's a good sign. There's one or two, one there, I'd bite. Hopefully, in an ideal world, I'll start getting liners and I can catch them shallow. I think I will. I was only 2 pegs to my left on the actual festival here, and I caught really well shallow then, and I caught a section closer than this, so hopefully we can start to catch them at this length and then bring them a bit closer. That'd be ideal. Don't want to be fishing any further than this because obviously can't find my meat out that far, and then obviously when the meat keeps coming off and bringing fishing and that, it's quite slow fishing any further, so need to catch at this range and closer really to catch like, trying to catch like 100 pounder skimmers before the carp rock up with like an hour in the edge really. That's my plan. But we'll see how it goes. Towing quite a lot today. Now, there was a couple of people caught like a carp early on my bank, but nobody else has caught one since. So like them early carp now, they've been caught. That's what normally happens at Larford. Normally people catch like 1 or 2 at the start, and then it gets a bit slow in the middle, and that's when I'm, like last week, fished for these skimmers and caught really, really well, when nobody else was really catching much. So on this, I've literally just got like a 0.75 float on. Quite a light float to be fair, but when you try and fish a heavy float on the bottom for skimmers, you just can't really catch them. You don't get as many bites as you do on a light float, even when it's towing through in the wind. So just got like a 0.75 bodied float on, and just a bulk and 2 droppers, simple rig. Got 14 hook on for all my meat rigs to be fair, because obviously I'm just using 7mm meat. Like I could get away with a 16 hook, but 14 just to claw and cling onto the meat a little bit more, because obviously I don't want it coming off all the time. But keep feeding this meat. Need to keep the meat going in. Got the first one. Just a little one, this one. He will be a little one for today, he will. He's probably 6-8 ounces in. Just a little one. Want to catch them a lot bigger than that, to be honest. some massive fish in here. Like when I caught 187 pound skimmers, I caught some of them 2, 3, maybe even 4 pounds. So, but they came on as I was fishing. Like, don't start off catching them. Start off with the smaller ones, and I built it up and caught the bigger ones later. Hopefully it happens today. And all I'm doing, trying to feed 10, 15 bits of meat all the time. I like to feed it twice, as accurate as I can. It's not easy in the wind, but need to keep feeding it really regular as well, especially if you're trying to catch them shallow. You know, you're going to need bait going through the water all the time to draw them shallow. There we are, another one. Better one, like the average one this is. That's kind of like an average one. What's that? 14 ounces? Something like that. Nice fish. And obviously if we can catch them as fast as we've just gone in there, we're going to catch a big weight. So we'll keep going on the bottom, see how it goes, before hopefully we can try and catch some shallow. Okay, so we're an hour in now, and we're still fishing on the bottom for the skimmers, and it's going all right. Like, obviously I spent 35 minutes fishing for a carp, and I caught one, which is nice. And obviously I've spent 25 minutes fishing for skimmers here, and I've definitely caught at least 10 pound of skimmers here on the bottom in that 25 minutes. So I'm on for my 100 pound of skimmers here if I carried on the bottom. Just hooked one here. Hey up, jumper. They come off. The jumper come off. No. Yeah, it's going well on the bottom. Not getting too many signs to come shallow just yet, so just going to persevere on this for a bit longer. But I know obviously to catch the really, really big weights, I need to be catching them shallow, to be honest. So hopefully they come shallow. But it is really, really windy at the minute. It's making the pole fishing a little bit difficult, if I'm honest. And I might come back a section yet and try and fish on the bottom of a section closer, just to make it a bit easier. But we'll see how it goes. It's still going okay at the minute. It's still on for £100 at the minute, the way it's going. So we just need to try and feed them shallow. Hopefully they'll come. I don't see why they won't. Just lost that one though. That was a 2-pounder. That was annoying. But yeah, still just fishing on the bottom. Still got like... Still just got a 7mm piece of meat on my 14 hook. But one change I have made, because obviously it is quite windy and it's quite hard to see the bites, is I've got 2 number 9 droppers on my rig. So I had them just like a bulk and 2 droppers to start with. What I've done is move one of the droppers down now to make it a double 9, like a bulk and draw one big dropper. So it's like called a double bulk rig. So hopefully I'll see the bites a bit better. And it's been working okay. I've had it on for a little bit now. Seems to be a little bit better. But what I'm having to do is just flick the rig past my pole if I can, and find my meat at my float. And obviously it's quite difficult to be accurate in this wind, but I'm trying my hardest. And obviously meat goes everywhere. But yeah, still just fishing on the bottom. Still just got my 0.75 rig on, and I'm catching okay the skimmers at the minute. So I'll keep plodding along. I'm looking around, and to be honest, there's not that many carp caught. So the person next to me's got one to my left, and I think, to be fair, the next 1, 2, 3 to my left, I think they've got 1 carp each and some skimmers and stuff. So they're not catching loads and loads of carp. So as long as they're not catching loads of carp, I'll stick on this, because I'm getting bites steady on this from skimmers. Like, this is a really small one. Don't want to be catching them. I'm not catching £100 that stamped, but it's just a mixture of sizes at the minute. To be honest, I'm really, really hoping to come shallow. So keep feeding. Hopefully they will. It's quite difficult to flick my rig past my pole, but I'll keep persevering, because I know the difference. If I was to have set up like a 2-gram rig to do this, I just know that I wouldn't have had as many bites. Like, I was umming and ahhing whether to see if the speed was better underarming a method feeder over this, but I just don't think it would have been. And I might still try it, because obviously it takes a while for the rig to settle. It's quite hard to flick it out, so I still might try a method feeder over this yet, because there is some bream coming out of the method feeder. And obviously if the wind gets stronger and it's more difficult to present this, you know, method feeder's perfect little trap on the bottom, and I know I'll definitely catch them on that, but it's just whether it's as fast as the pole. going okay on this. You've seen me have one and lose one, and I've got another on now. Like, you have little spells where sometimes you catch one £2 and then you catch one £1, but it's like you caught £3 in a minute that goes. So you're catching really fast, and this is like the average stamp one. It's probably, what's that? Probably £1. So you need 100 to catch £100, obviously at that rate, at that stamp. But obviously, I'm hoping to catch a few a little bit bigger. I've caught a few big, like £2. But I'm hoping to catch some £2 and £3 ones, and then obviously you really don't need as many. But obviously on the festival here, I know from experience that those bigger ones, they come on late. You normally catch these little ones early, and the big ones later on. So you just have to keep the faith, keep going, and hopefully we'll either catch shallow or some big ones rock up on the bottom. So we'll keep going, and I'll update you if there's any changes. Okay, so just changed to try and shallow now, and when I initially went shallow, started on my shallowest rig, and that's about 3.5 foot deep, and it's pretty shallow for a peg that's like 8 foot deep. And I started on that one. I caught a little roach, a little skimmer, a little tiny skimmer, but not like a proper skimmer, so I felt that was a bit shallow, so I put that one down, and I picked up a rig here that's like a full top kit of line, and I'm set at about 5 foot deep, 6 foot, 5.5 foot deep now. No, 5.5 foot deep, and I've had 3 skimmers on it now, so hopefully they're just starting to come shallow. Before that, on the bottom, I actually had a few indications where I felt like there was a fish messing with my meat on the way down, so I just went shallow and tried it, and obviously I started too shallow, but now I've gone a bit deeper. I've had 3, and they've been slightly bigger fish to start with, and all I'm doing is like I flick it downwind and like just let it settle into my meat. So I just flick it across then. Like when I miss a bite, I like to basically wrap it around the pole tip, and what I do is I just let my meat settle into my meat like that, and it goes under. And what I do if I miss a bite is I just flick it back over. It just makes the process a lot easier than trying to lift it out and flick it past the pole. If you just get it, lift it up and just flick it over the pole tip, it's just a lot faster. Like I just missed another bite then. Like now they might be a little bit shallower still, so obviously we must miss 2 bites. And this is what shallow fishing is all about, like just changing the depth to where the fish are. Like obviously when you're missing bites, you want to come shallower, and if you're not getting any bites, go a bit deeper. And obviously just got one now. It's just a little one, little fish, this one. Obviously they're not loads there, they're confident, but it's actually a roach. There's not loads there yet, but obviously having 3 already, it's a good sign that, you know, I can get a few competing shallow, so hopefully they do. And for this, obviously I've got a really shallow rig that's set up about 3.5 foot deep, and it's just a 4x12 float. And this one here, it's about 5.5 foot deep. This is 4x14 float, and all I shot them is with a bulk and 2 droppers. So it's basically like fishing on the bottom, because obviously when you're fishing quite deep, I don't want to have like a strung out rig, because there's quite a lot of roach that higher. So if you have a strung out rig, the roach have more chance of reaching your meat and pulling your meat off. So I just like to bomb it past the roach as much as I can, and yeah, just let my float sit there, because sometimes you can just sit there with your rig just hanging stationary and your float will just go under nice and it'll just be a skimmer. So it's basically like fishing on the bottom. And he's just shot it with a bulk of number 9s and 2 number 9s droppers on this rig I've got on at the minute, and the other one's just a bulk of number 10s and 2 number 10 droppers. But just flick it out, flick it to the side, feed my meat, let my float fall into the meat, hold it so it's falling into my meat like that, and obviously you might get a bite on the drop like that. Got it. It's another one. Perfect. It's just as I want it. I just want it so it's falling through. I don't want it so when I want them to take my meat when it's just falling through. I don't want to have it when it's stationary, because that means I'm a little bit too shallow. Like I want them to have it when it's falling past them. And that was a perfect example of that. Hopefully we keep catching like that. It's a good sign. It's another pound and a bit skimmer. They're generally a little bit bigger shallow than the ones on the bottom. But yeah, I'll show you the process now again. So what I do is when I get to my spot, flick it to the side, downwind, like that. Hold my pole tip in position, fire my meat at it. Well, try to. Got to feed again then, because it went nowhere near. and just let my float fall into the meat. And obviously if I miss a bite, I just flick it round my pole and let it all fall through again, because obviously that meat's sinking slow. That meat that I just catapulted in, it's probably still nowhere near my hook bait now. It's probably well above it, so just let it all hang there. And sometimes with this meat shallow fishing for these skimmers, you can just let it hang there and let it drift through, and you just get an odd bite like that. Just lift it up and drop it in. But yeah, now we're just going to see if we can get them a few more confidently now. Because there's not loads there yet. Just try and get the confidence up a little bit. Because they're sat a little bit too deep now. Trying to bring them a bit shallow. I want them to catch them about 4 foot deep, seems to be about right. Just got a little tiny fish hanging on to me. And that's why I don't use like a strung out rig, because I need to get past those little ones that are sitting above my meat. Yeah. When I actually put my meat on the hook, it's very important that you want it to stay on as long as possible. So what I actually do is just roll it onto the hook with as much hook point in the meat as possible. If you just try and nick it on, it'll fall off all the time, and obviously you won't be as efficient. So making sure you roll the meat on your hook is really, really important. Oh yeah, and on both these shallow rigs as well, I've just got a 14 hook on, the same as the rig on the bottom, just so it clings to my meat, so my meat doesn't fall off all the time. Skimmer, or a little skimmer. Not a big one, that, if it is a skimmer. Oh, it's like a hybrid, like a 6 ounce hybrid. Nice fish. Not what we're after, but nice fish. Really important though that you keep putting this meat in. If you just stop feeding for a bit, there's no reason for them to come shallow, so you're just not going to catch them. So make sure you keep that meat going in as accurately as you can. But obviously with meat, it kind of goes everywhere. Float's just set up now, so like felt like there was one had it on the drop then. Just flick it back in. But yeah, I'm looking around this match today. There's not that many carp being caught. I've only seen. I don't think anybody on my bank's got. I don't think anybody on my bank's got like 2 carp. I think they've only got 1 and some skimmers. So I'll keep going on this while nobody's catching carp. Hey, up another hybrid. He's a nice one. I did catch a few of these when I caught my weight. Like he's a lovely hybrid. He is. Probably close to a pound, and he's just down the throat a little bit, so he took it a bit shallower to get the disgorger on him. But yeah, I think we'll just keep going now. Hopefully try and get them a little bit more confident, a little bit shallower, be a little bit easier. Like I thought last week about 4 foot was the ideal depth to catch a really big weight of them. So hopefully we can start fishing at that kind of depth, and I'll update you if anything changes. Right, so it's gone a little bit strange in my peg here. Like I had a good run fishing shallow, like where I caught like three like 2 3-pounders and 3 chucks, and then a few other small ones and things. And went back on the bottom because it was going a bit slow. And I caught a few, but now it's completely dying. Like I'm struggling to get any bites at all there now, which is very strange. I thought we'd catch here steadily until we had to go in the edge, but obviously matches don't always go to plan. So I'm still feeding my meat here, like expecting them to come back, but very strange. It's just gone a little bit quiet then. I just had a bite from probably a roach on the drop then or something. But yeah, my skimmers seem to have gone a bit funny at the minute. So what I've started to do, because obviously matches never go, well, they don't always go as you expect. I've started to get some 8mm and fire them out as far as I can, which is about 20 metres today, 18-20 metres. I'm just priming it for a method feeder line, because obviously looking around the lake, that's what most people are fishing, a method feeder. And they're catching odd skimmers on it, and there's an odd carp coming out. There's people with 2 and 3 carp each, but not loads. I just lost one then, skimmer. But basically I think might need to make a change off the old skimmer meat line and maybe fish a method feeder, catch an odd skimmer on it, an odd carp and things, but the meat line seems to have gone a bit funny now. So what I've been doing for like the last 10 minutes is basically feeding some 8mm out there, priming it. Hopefully, with any luck, when I do go on it, might catch a carp, maybe some big skimmers and things, because maybe this meat line just needs a little bit of rest, just to build some more bream up on it, and I'll obviously keep feeding it. Like now though, I'm just starting to get some bites on it again. Very strange, they just went off for a little bit. That's just come off as well, so I think maybe now's time to chuck a method feed out, because they've obviously gone a bit funny there. So we'll make the change. Like they weren't coming off before, every bite was just like a fish in the mouth, so we'll just set this rod rest up to chuck over some 8mm to see if we can get one. And what I'm going to start on is probably just a yellow wafter. That's like a classic Larford hook bait, that's always good for a skimmer as well. Just a little one, I'm not going to start on a massive one, because obviously still want to catch an odd skimmer, don't want to bait too selective. So obviously Ray next to me here, he's caught on a method feeder all day, and I reckon he's got slightly more than me because he's got 3 carp and he's got some skimmers on it. But I'm not a million miles away from his weight, so but I do need to carry on catching, so hopefully by just resting that pole line it'll come good again in a little while. Just going to give it like half an hour rest just to see if they come back, and if they don't come back I'll obviously just have to scrap it because I'll need some carp to win. So just made my method feeder up, just got some micros on in that yellow wafter like I talked. What I'm going to do before I actually cast it in is just get my 8mm, fire them to where I'm going to cast. So obviously I've got a far bank mark and they're going slightly to the right of that of the wind, so now I know roughly where the pellets have landed and I know roughly where to chuck. Just going to chuck my method feeder over it. It's about where they went, not too far. It's quite deep here, just waiting for my feeder to settle, and I've actually just got quite a light method feeder on today, so obviously I don't want it to sink in any silt. But I have got a big one on as well, like that's important. I've got a large one on so the fish can actually find it. I don't want one that's too small the fish can't find. He's just got a little carp on next to me there. And so yeah, we'll just see how this goes for a little bit. We'll just fish this method feeder near my 8mm. Just see if I can catch something just while I prime this meat line up again, because it's gone a little bit funny. And I need it to come back, to be honest, or I'm going to scrap it off. So we'll try and build it up. Hopefully I'll go on this and just start catching some carp, but there's not loads of carp being caught, I don't think. I've probably, what are we on? Almost halfway through, I've probably got 50 odd pounds, so not as many as I was expecting at this point, but it's still okay. You know, if they turn up in the edge, I've told you how big these carp are, you don't need many. So we'll keep going. Hopefully some big ones rock up back on that meat, or this keeps going around with some carp and some bream on this. And yeah, see how it happens. I'm not going to give it massively long chucks on this either. I'm only going to probably leave it out for like 2 or 3 minutes at a time, because I don't think leaving it is going to be the way to go today. Some horrible wasps around here because of the meat, don't like them. But yeah, maybe it's because I'm near the corner of a lake, there's not as many skimmers here as there would be if I drew a little bit more in the middle. Maybe that's the reason, but we'll see. Right, so as you can see, I've changed from a meat shallow line now onto a method feeder, and I've actually had 3 bream on it now. I've had three fish for probably six pound, maybe a bit more, so it's actually been alright. I've caught 3 nice fish on it, and all I'm doing while I'm doing this is just resting my meat shallow line. Now my meat shallow line was obviously the line I wanted to try and catch on, but obviously it's not going to plan today for whatever reason on it. It's been okay, don't get me wrong, I've caught probably 40 or 50 pound on it, but I wanted to catch slightly more to, you know, to get to those match winning weights. Probably going to need 180 to 200 pounds still today, but all the time while I'm on this I'm just resting my meat line and feeding it up again, so hopefully when I go back on it, you know, there's some bream waiting shallow, because now really to keep catching on it I'm going to have to catch shallow on it. But getting some liners on this feeder, and while I feed that meat line up, if I keep catching like £2 fish on it every 2 or 3 minutes, I'll keep on it, because obviously you're catching a great weight on it. So we'll see how it goes, but for now it's going well, and all I'm doing on it is basically feeding 2 pouchfuls of 8mm, you know, wherever they're going nice. It's about 20 metres here today because the wind's in the face and these fishery 8mm are a bit light, but it's about 20 metres out. And all I've got on my feeder, I've got a large Preston ICS feeder with 15 hollow in the stem, and it's just a fixed feeder with a 4-inch hook length O22 to a 12 hook, and it's just got like a little 6mm yellow wafter on. Now I've chose just a little one. I don't want to go too selective and put a really big wafter on, because obviously the skimmers don't have the biggest of mouths, and I just want to catch anything that's going to eat my hook bait. I don't want a massive like 12mm boilie on waiting for a carp. I just want a small one to catch these skimmers, and hope, you never know, people around me have caught some carp on a meth feeder. At any point it could go around with a carp on, so while it's going round it I'll keep on it, but probably give it another 10 minutes, and if I don't get one in 10 minutes I'll go back on my meat line. So for now it's going good. I had like £6-7 on it, you know, 3 fish while I'm feeding up my meat line. These little ducks are very annoying. I can't feed my meat in a minute because every time I do they explode into my meat, so having to let them bugger off really, but we'll see how it goes. I've not had any liners on this cast, but I've not had any liners in general. It's just gone round with 3 nice bream on, to be fair, but we'll see how it goes. That big feed is important, a large one, because obviously I want them to find my feeder quite fast. I don't want just a small pile of bait, because if there is a carp there, I want them to come in home in our feed and catch them straight away. And obviously fishing over in such a big lake like this, fishing over them 8mm, I want I want quite a big pile of micros so they can find it fast, because I want a fastish bite. I don't want a small feeder with just a small pile. I want them to come and feed on it straight away. So I've got a large feeder, and I actually think a large feeder is quite good, because I think if there's any silt or anything out there, I think it doesn't sink as far into the silt because of the surface area. That's one on. It's a nice bream again. But yeah, that big feed is important. That's large surface area, because don't want my feed to sink into the silt. This is actually a really nice bream. This might be a little carp or something actually. I'd say it's a bream though. It's a nice one. Might be a little carp, a little stocky carp. We'll see. But yeah, it keeps going round with £2 or £3 fish. We'll keep on it. Oh, it's come off. No. I reckon that was a little stocky carp or something. A little bit more aggressive on the bite, that was, but load it up again. So what I'm doing is just loading the feeder up. Just got my hook bait in the middle. Get it ready to cast out. Get a pouch of 8mm. Fire them in. You can see there, they're landing about 20 metres out. What I'm trying to do is just get my feeder and cast it over it. That wasn't the best cast, but it went in over them, I think. Just wait for the line to sink. Perfect, just trying to sink the line today. And yeah, we'll try and catch them. I can't believe I lost that one. I reckon that was a little stocky carp I do, because it was a little bit scrappy on the fight. Could have done with it in my net though. Right, the little ducks are gone now, so I can feed my meat as well. Upping it a bit now, feeding like 30 bits twice, because I will need it to be good when I go back on it. If I'm gonna keep doing it, I need it to be good. So trying to get some fish there gathered. The wind's dropped now as well, so it's nicer fishing the pole shallow. It's not too windy anymore. It might have been the problem before, but we'll see when we go back on it. Because if I don't go on it now and catch some, you know it's not going to be good today, and then it's probably worth sacking off, concentrating on this method feeder. Maybe feeding some 8mm on this as well to try and catch some carp here on a method feeder below it, and then obviously in the edge is where we need to catch some carp. So see how it goes on this method feeder, and I'll update you when I go back on the pole shallow if it goes good. So basically we've got 2 hours left now, and it's not gone to down that meat line. I'm about to abandon that because obviously I was fishing a method feeder, and I caught 3 or 4 nice bream on it. Went back on that meat shallow that I've been priming up. I caught an odd little skimmer, but it weren't good enough. It's not going to be good enough to win money today. It's like catching odd, but it's not very good, an odd roach and things in between. So basically I'm trying to push my edge now. We've got 2 hours left, and I need to probably catch some in the edge, so hopefully they come in early. Sometimes they only come in with about half an hour to go, but I need them to come in a little bit earlier, to be honest, to do any good. So just forcing my edge a little bit now, and basically all I'm feeding down there is some pots of ground bait and micros mixed together with some meat, and I'm just going to put like 5 pots down, which is a good amount of, it's a nice volume of bait that, and because I'm fishing in such shallow water, I'll see when they come down over it because they'll swirl on it. But the other day in the festival on the other bank, they come down with an hour and a half to go, so if they come down that early, I can catch £100 in the last hour and a half, but it depends, because on this bank, they only come down with half an hour to go, so we'll see how it goes. This is my 4th pot I'm putting in now. Yeah, because I'm fishing in such shallow water, I'll be able to see them when they come in. It's crazy, really, when you think they're going to be huge units. One more. But yeah, I'm a little bit behind. I think I'm a little bit behind him next to me there. He's probably doing really good on this bank, if not winning this bank. He's got probably 80, 90 pound. I've got probably 70 pound, which 20 pound is only 1 fish on it, so it's not loads. But I just feel like I need to force it a little bit now. My peg's gone a little bit funny. He's just had one slapping an 8mm again, so I might try that. But to start with, I'm just going to try under my meat that I've been fishing all day. I put some pellets in there not long ago, so I'm just going to see if I can have a little run of big bream while I see if he gets another carp on that. Because basically, I need to catch some carp now to do any good, so I need an edge arrival, to be honest. But we'll see. Just past where I've been fishing my meat, that was. This has been a notoriously good line at Larford for big bream and things, but I've been feeding some pellets there now, so. Yeah. Oh, I forgot those little ducks are there. Little ducks are a pain, they're going right on pellets, but just going to have a little go on this, see if I catch any big bream on this. Feed my pellets out there. I need, don't get me wrong, I'm doing okay, but I need a run now somewhere. Probably of carp, because I still think you're probably going to want 180, 200 pound to win still, so I need to catch 100 pound this last 2 hours, so I need the carp to arrive somewhere. There's a man up there as well, 3 up, he's catching a few carp as well, so I feel like I need to catch an odd carp now. Oh, that's a carp. Oh, might not be, it might be a skimmer. Skimmer that, can you believe that? I nearly pulled the rod in. Oh no, growing. I'm saying, it's a carp. Very strange one, it's only a little one that. Fighting very odd. Yeah, it's a carp this is. Which is a bonus. I said I needed some carp. I don't think it's one of the massive ones, but it's for fighting. Nearly lost the rod to it, to be honest. He's got one on to my right and on the end peg as well, carp. Don't know how many have you had. How many have you had, Tom? He's not had loads, has he? Oh, he's only had 2. We're okay at the minute. But he might start catching because he's the end where the wind's been blowing. It's not a massive carp, it's a carp. Can't be too... Fighting very hard. Oh, he's just a little one. We'll take him. 5, 6 pounds. There we are, I got him. 5, 6 pound him. Just a little one on here, but he's actually hooked just outside the mouth as well, but it's a bonus, we'll have it. Said I need some carp, moaning that I was falling a little bit behind. If I can get it out on the net. Yeah, just caught that where because I abandoned my meat line, I basically just filled it in with some 8mm over the top there to try and catch some carp and things below it, and obviously it's worked. So we'll try it again. Just put my wafter on. Just underarm this over my pellets. Hey up, Tom, carp in my edge, see that? Yeah. It's a great sign. Chopper, there's one there. Yeah. Honestly, come straight in.
He's happy now, isn't he?
Yeah, now I've seen a carp on the edge. Oh. Just chucked out again and got another. Don't think this is a carp though, this one. Might be though. Hey, look at him there, my edge. Is that carp there, Tom? Big carp in my edge while I'm playing this. That's a great sign. Oh, it's a little carp. Another one. £3. I reckon that's why the skimmers are gone, if I'm honest now. Full of carp. just repeat it. 2 in 2 chucks. Still got the same hook bait on, just that little yellow wafter. Not a massive one, just a little one. Yeah, see if we get another one. I've probably had 6 £10 in 2 chucks now, so that's nice. Hopefully we catch a bigger one, because those 2 are only little ones for on here really. But can't be moaning. I've seen carp on my edge and I've just had 2 in 2 chucks. So I've already seen, obviously I just fed my edge about 5 minutes ago, or yeah, 5 minutes ago, and I've seen 2 or 3 on it already, and obviously I'm just leaving it now just to let them settle a little bit, because obviously I don't want to rush in and sit there, because there's not loads and loads coming in. When they're there and confident, they're swirling there all the time, and they're not like that at the minute. They're just 2 come in like 1 by itself. When only 1 comes over your edge by itself, they're really, really difficult to catch, so you're better off just leaving them and letting them settle. Another skimmer on the feeder here. Better off just letting them settle down for a little bit, because when there's only 1 by itself, it's really difficult to catch. I was just doing something weird to my hook length, he has. So yeah, just going to leave it for a little while longer, probably 10-15 minutes, not loads of time, because obviously I need to catch them to do any good. But those 2 fish there just caught me up, probably got me to £75-80 now, so hopefully with a couple more on this before we go down the edge would be nice. Like for instance, I fed that bait then. Oh, that was a bad fade. I have to do that again. They could have wiped my bait out already. Yeah. There's one over Ray's edge straight away as well, so it's a good sign. We're going to have a great time in the edge. Probably only going to give it another 10 minutes, so I have some time to catch some. That's 3 o'clock then, and we end at 4:30, so that's an hour and a half to go, so that'll be plenty of time to catch them. So I'll probably give this another 10 minutes, and then I'll go down the edge and hopefully work out how to catch them. Right, so I've just gone in the edge now, and the best way I found to feed it at Larford is to put a big pot in and then go straight over it. I feel like with a little pot, well, any size pole pot in here is just not big enough. Oh, it went under then. Any pole pot in here just seems to be a bit too small, so I always find fish, because the fish are so big, with just a pole pot, they seem to wipe you out really fast and take the lot. So I find with a big pot, it's just enough bait to get one there to catch it basically. And basically I've started on double worms, a big up bait. Hopefully they can see it and hopefully I can catch them on it. There's quite a lot of fish there. Oh, had a bite there then. But there's quite a few there swirling around now, so it shouldn't be long until I get another bite. I normally go in the edge here and foul up my first one, so that's not ideal. Hopefully that doesn't happen today. Hopefully we catch them in the mouth, because they're too big to be foul looking. That looked like a nice big bite, that did to me. Oh, my float just wobbled around in the edge then. But it's really important that you don't strike at liners, because these fish are too big to be foul looking. They're so hard to get in anyway. So it's important that you wait for a proper bite, or a proper sails away under. Otherwise you'll just foul look them. But just sat over my pot of ground bait now. Quite a few fish coming in. I think the ducks did them some confidence, because there we go, I've got one straight away in the edge. Just gonna drag him straight round now, straight out. I try not to let them get too much steam out in the lake, because obviously if you just let them do what they want to do, This can go straight in the middle, so as long as he's coming towards me, I'll keep pulling him towards me. Don't want him to shoot off in the middle if I can help it. He's going though. Oh, he's turning around. We've got it. We're going to get him. He's definitely in the mouth. I can feel his head nods. Just keeping the pole nice and low while I play him in. Don't want to. Want to try and get a quick scoop on him if I can, because this is where you do your damage in the matches at Larford, down the edge. So. Feels like a nice big fish. It's nice and close in front of me now, so I'll just get my net ready, but just pull it, my top kit to the side, and then when I feel he's ready to be netted, I'll just lift my top kit up. But he's going on a little bit of a run here, so just let him run a little. Running off now.
The last day was really stupid. And we had like 2 an hour and 20 minutes left then.
Yeah, it's a big fish, this. Just try and lift him up there then. It's very big, this. Right. Gonna get him now? He's very big, look at the size of him. He's big, isn't he? Just hooked another. Not actually sure which one's in the mouth, if I'm honest. Which isn't ideal. But we'll try and get him. He's coming towards me, so I think he is. Just going to try and pull him toward me, not let him try and get too much steam up. He's coming straight at me. While he's coming straight at me, I'll try and net him straight away. Try and pull him up now, push his head up. Oh, he does not want to lift his head up. Got him straight away. Only an 8-pounder this time. Got another. So obviously while they're coming towards you, keep pulling them up and then you can land them faster. Oh, he's going to go in a minute. Okay. So basically what I'm doing now is obviously I've just landed that one. Got my double worm, put my double worm back on, because what I found here is when you go and feed, they're already straight on it, so you need to be straight over it, because they're so big, they just wipe you out straight away. So I'm just now stunning my worm, slapping them on the top, just getting them nice and straight. And when I can find my cupping kit, I'm going to go in, feed it again, putting some meat in, 30 cubes of meat in a big pot, like I talked about earlier, because I found a pole pot just isn't big enough to catch them. They're still swirling there now, to be fair. So put that in, and now it's swirling there straight on the bait every time. So hopefully we should go back in and get one straight away. And now what I do is make sure I don't strike at these liners. Try and make sure you strike at the proper bites where it just flies under 1,000,000 miles an hour. You can see how fast you can catch them. Like if they come in as fast as that last one, it's so easy to build a big weight of these carp down the edge. I've had 2 for probably 30 plus pound there in not a lot of time at all. So you don't need many. Just seem to have backed off a little bit, but they'll be straight back, I'm sure. Got an hour and 15 left now, so I've had 2 in 15 minutes, which is pretty good going. Come on now. Got him. Keep pulling when they're coming towards me. And then obviously I can get a quick scoop on it, hopefully. So this one feels really big as well. Come on, lift his head. Got him straight away. Another very large fish on the edge. Put him in the net. Still got my 2 worms on. Perfect.
Well, them last, I don't know how big they are.
They came easy, didn't they?
Well, a big one and all, wasn't it?
No, I've not got anywhere near what you lot are saying. I've got £50, man. So we've just got over half an hour to go now. And I've had 4 edge carp so far. I fouled up 1 and I lost it. And as you can see, I've had to change rigs. I kind of got snapped up by 1 in my landing net. At least I got the fish in before it snapped me up, so that was nice. But not nice, so that's why you can see I've got a different float on. They're becoming a little bit trickier to catch now. Like the first 3 I caught were really easy. And the last one I had to wait. And it actually bottomed me out. Like it jumped out of the water when I hooked it and literally just kept going and almost broke me, but he come back, so he was nice. I got 4, and I'd like to catch like another 3 or 4 really in this last like half an hour, but they've gone a little bit trickier to catch. The problem is I'm not going to change anything I'm doing. I'm just going to keep and sit and wait and be patient and hopefully keep catching a few more, keep potting it, keep, you know, putting my rig over it, and eventually it'll probably go under. Well, I'd like to think it'll go under again. I'm just going to keep the same hook bait on because there's no point changing it now. And yeah, hopefully I'll just catch a few more. As you can see now, there's no swirling compared to earlier. Like earlier there was quite a lot coming in. Now there's not as many, so I'm just going to pot it again. Just need to get a few there. I think when there's a few there and they're confident I'll actually catch one, but when there's not as many coming in, harder to catch. So they're getting crafty though, because every time I move my pole away, there's a swirl over where I've been fishing. Yeah, just going to pot it in again. Put my rig straight on it. Keep being positive on that line, because I can't just sit there and sit there and sit there. If there's swirls there, and I sit there and sit there and sit there, there's obviously no bait there when they just leave. So I need to keep being positive and keep potting it in. Put my rig over it, and hopefully it goes under a few more times. Because another 3 fish could be as much as £60. 3 fish is probably going to go £50, to be fair. If I catch 50 more pound today, I won't be far away. Probably got £120 now. 130, 120, 130 pound. Which is nice, but I just need a few more. But can't do anything else now, I don't think, other than go down the edge here and sit and be patient and hope I catch a few more. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep the same hook bait on. And yeah, hopefully I'll be lucky and just have a little run. Like I had 15 minutes when I went on it to start with, where potted it in and caught 3 really easy, so hopefully that happens again, where I have like a little spell where they start to feed again and it starts to go under. Like now there's no swirls there. Before when I was fishing there was quite a lot. I might do something crazy. If I don't get one in like the next 10 minutes, I might actually throw a bit of ground bait in, like a bit of a volume of ground bait, try and get loads of carp there again. Because now they're definitely getting spookier or backed off. Might coincide with the sun's come out as well. But we'll try and catch a few more. Ray here next to me is doing quite well. Probably still ahead of me, I think. Yeah, we'll sit and be patient, hopefully they come in here again and I'll catch a few more, but they're not coming in anymore. Very strange. Stop swirling there now and everything. Right, got one. It's just a little one, this. Took a while to hook that one, which is strange. Like, they've got a bit cute now. This one just wants to go. Sometimes, like I said, like, if they're going out, you know, I said you can just try and get them in really fast, but some of them just go out, and obviously, if they go out, you need to follow them. You can't just give them no movement at all, because you need to get them in. But this one's starting to behave now. I don't think this one's as big as the others. But it took a while to catch this one, like they went a bit crafty. But hopefully now, just like at the end, like I said, I only had 3 in 15 minutes before, so I only need a 15-minute spell where they start to feed again and I can catch a few more. So hopefully now's the beginning. Still on the same up bait, still on double worm. This one's fighting a little bit. It's a big common, this one. Got him. He's quite a big one himself, actually. Probably 12 pounds. Amazing stamper fishing this lake. It's such an incredible lake, this specimen lake. If you've never been down here, you need to come and have a go, because they're some big fish, they are. So we had that one. Hopefully now, literally just need a few more. Don't think I'm winning, but I'm doing okay. Do you think I'm winning, Tom?
No idea.
I have no idea. No idea what I've got compared to other people.
Down there, but I don't know how many you've got in your start.
Gonna have to pile it in now. There's not as many coming in, so I feel like I have to feed more a volume of bait to get one there. So I'm feeding like 2 pots for a fish at the minute. You can see how I got through all that bait. Like, I looked like a lot that I mixed up at the start, but it's soon gone. I've not actually got that much left now. I'm just going to put my micros in with them as well. So that's everything I've got now. Micros and ground bait in that tub left. Which isn't a lot. Got 20 minutes though, so it should be enough for that long. Ooh. Like, there's still not one there now, whereas when I was baiting up before, like earlier on, they were already there waiting. Try and get another couple. There's none there at the minute. You know when they're there because I swirl on my bait. But hopefully they keep a few more coming. Didn't see him, did you? Like, I didn't even see that one come in the edge then. I don't know whether it's foul looked or whether they're really being sneaky now coming in. But I didn't even see that one come in the peg, and it looks a massive fish. Like when I was talking about a 15-minute window to catch a few, this might be it now, because obviously there's only 20 minutes to go. Didn't even see that one come in the peg, and he just nailed my hook bait. Definitely in the mouth. He's one of these wallowers. He's not one that's shooting off in the middle, which is nice. Might be able to scoop this one very fast and get another go. He's not shooting off in the middle, which is nice. This is what I need. If I'm to win, I need to get some luck with how fast I land them, and get some more bites when I do go in. He's shooting off now though. Oh, come on, lift your head, you little. There's only a little one in. I say a little one, he's still £10. Crazy, really. But it is a small one compared to the ones you saw me catch earlier. This one sneaked into the peg, so you can tell they've obviously got craftier as the session's gone on in its edge. Worms just slid up the line. Hopefully I can put them back on the hook. Perfect. A bit of worm on the actual main line. I'm just going to leave it on. Oh, camera in the way there. Big pot it again. You can see I've got this like extra elastic dangling out my pole. Now that's because when you're fishing some of these shallow carp lakes, one of my worms fell off. But you can see this elastic dangling out my pole. I've got that because sometimes on these carp lakes, when you're fishing on the shallow water, like on the match lake, they can run off at speed. And obviously if you haven't got your pole sections on quick enough, they're just going to break you. But having that extra bit of elastic there dangling out is obviously a little bit more stretch. So I feel like I lose slightly less fish that shoot off in the middle when I've got this extra piece of elastic. I've had one today down the edge shoot off in the middle, and without that bit of elastic it might have broke me. So I always like to have it. It looks a bit scruffy and horrible, but having that extra bit of elastic might mean you lose that vital edge fish that shoots off in the middle. So I have that on all my carp kits now, that bit of dangly elastic. It's just a bit of extra stretch, like that little bit there hanging out. It's probably a foot of it. Probably going to stretch another, well, 2 or 3 metres, and it can make all the difference sometimes, especially when you're fishing at these big match levels. Like one carp that breaks you could cost you the match, so I always like to have that little bit of extra dangling out elastic for that stretch. But yeah, we've got exactly 15 minutes left now. Another 2. Felt like pulling my pole, that one. That was annoying. That could have been 1. An extra 2 fish now. 15 minutes to go could make all the difference, so we'll see how it goes. Not actually see any swirls or anything anymore, which is pretty crazy considering the size of the fish. But if they come in and eat hook bait, it's no problem. That one actually nabbed one of my worms off my hook. But yeah, this has been my match really. It's been a bit disappointing, the skimmer action early. Like I was expecting to catch a lot more shallow than I did, so I've not got the skimmer weight I was expecting before I went down the edge. So obviously I was trying to catch like 100 pounder skimmers, which sounds crazy, but that's my target before I went down the edge, and obviously I fell a bit short of that. And I've had a good session in the edge, but I still feel like I could have caught 1 or 2 more. Like I just missed a bite then, like every missed bite there could be 15 pound plus. So need to make sure I'm on it, don't miss any bites now, don't foul hook any, have a little bit of luck landing them, I can get 1 or 2 more. So fingers crossed it goes under. Just hooked one, got 5 minutes to go. Be nice if this just comes in nice and steady now, so I can just, it's not bullying, it's just steadily putting pressure on them instead of them shooting off in the lake. So it'd be nice if I can just get this, hopefully maybe be cheeky and get another. The elastic's pretty ready for netting this one. If he pops up now, might be able to get it. It's only another little one. We'll have him. 10 pound. Better than nothing. Four minutes to go. Put more bait in. What? So we've got 4 minutes to go. There's definitely still a carp there to keep swirling up. There's every chance to go in and get another. Still have my update on, which is nice. Oh, 1 worm fell off, but 1 worm's going to have to do now. I still think he'll spot it. So I'm going to give you a quick summary and a quick rundown of my rigs I use. So I actually started today at 14.5 metres, slapping an 8mm pellet for hopefully catching an early carp or 2, and I hooked one straight away that come off. Well, I didn't come off, it bottomed me out in the middle of the lake straight away, and I think that could have been foul luck, to be honest. But I did get one in the mouth, about 10 pound out on it, so I'll just give you a run through of the rig. Now this one's just got 17 hollow elastic in, just to a little bead, and 0.21 main line down to a 0.4. These are a carbon stem float with like a 3mm tip, so obviously the 8mm pellet doesn't sink the float, if that makes sense, and you can see it out there perfectly. And that's the kind of float I like fishing for carp with. Now I've been fishing about 2.5–3 foot deep on this today, whereas if I was fishing like a foot deep on some venues or 18 inches deep, I'd go to like a dibber float, but any deeper than that I like a carbon stemmed float with a 3mm tip, and he's just a 0.4, and because I'm fishing a big 8mm Coppins pellet, I've only got 2 number 8s below the float on that. But when I was fishing a little bit deeper, like 3 foot deep, I actually moved those number 8s down to about halfway, and that's actually how I caught the carp I caught. So that's that rig. And then I went on to fish for skimmers, and it's been, I'm going to say it's been 9 foot deep there, but I've just got a 0.75 bodied float on. I'll run through from the very top. I've got 13 hollow elastic, and that's just, so when you hook these skimmers, because obviously I'm going to need a weight of them to do any good today, when you hook them at such a deep depth of water, you can just ship back a bit faster, and you can just net everything a bit faster with 13 hollow. So I fished that. I've got 0.17 powerline mainline, a 0.75 float. That's really important for skimmers. Even though it's been really, really windy today and I could have used a heavier float, you just don't get as many bites of the lighter float. So I've just got a 0.75 bodied float with a wire stem because it's quite deep, just for the stability. I've got 2 number 8 back shot, but today it's been towing that much. The back shot I haven't actually done that much, to be honest, but it's always nice to have them on, and I have them on all my rigs. Apart from some carp shallow rigs like the one I've had there, I've not had any on. And it's just running down to a bulk of number 9s with a few trimming shot, and I've just had 2 number 9 droppers, and they were a bulk of 2 to start with, so spread out. But then later, a bit later on, I realised I weren't seeing the bites quite as well as I thought I should, so I just bulked them down to make like a double bulk rig, and I had a few lift bites on that when I did that, and it was just a little bit better like that. And I've just got 0.13 power line to a 14 hook, 14 GPM hook. A 14 hook's quite important because I've been fishing 7mm meat. I need the big hook to keep the meat on, so when I strike, I'm not striking the meat off every chuck. So yeah, and also 14 hook matched up perfect to that 13 hollow, and it just makes me land those bream quite quickly. And then I've had 2 shallow rigs. So I've had one on 11 hollow elastic, 0.70 mainline, a 4x12 float, just with a 1.7mm bristle carbon stem float. So when I've been flicking it across today, the float just follows the bait through the water a bit better, and that's how I have actually caught the few I've caught shallow. It's been as it's falling through, it's gone under, and that's how I've caught the ones I've caught. And this has been a 4x12. This is, I use this about 3.5, 3 foot deep, and it's just set up like a deck rig, because if you try and string the shot out, you get problems with little roach. So I've actually just got a bulk of 4 number 9s and 2 number 9 droppers there on that rig to the same hook length as on the deck rig, and 0.13, 6 inches long, 14 hook for keeping the meat on. 11 hollow for that shallower elastic, so when I hook them, they swim. I can guide them out the peg nice, and not a massive eruption on the top. So that's been that one. And then the other shallow rig has actually been exactly the same, but I've just set this up on a top kettle line, a 13 elastic. I didn't actually have any more 13 on, so this is just that white hybrid. Still a 13 though, same kind of elastic. 17.17 mainline, 2 number 8 back shot, a 4x14 float on this one, because I have been, this is the rig I've actually caught my skimmers shallow on, and I've been fishing it about 5 foot deep, 5.5 foot deep. So obviously you need a bit of a float to get it down there, otherwise if you fished a 4x12 in 5 foot, it takes ages to settle, and that's not for me. So I've been fishing a 4x14 float, exactly the same shotting, just a bulk of number 9s, 2 number 9 droppers, 0.13 hook length to a 14 GPM hook on that, and a 13 elastic, because I don't need it. I don't need to guide them out the peg as nice on that, because it's fishing quite deep. They're not going to splash on the surface anyway, so I've just been fishing a 13 elastic on that one. And then I actually had a spell where the skimmers weren't very good, but I actually think the carp moved in now looking back, because I underarmed a method feeder over that when I fed some 8mm on it. When I sacked off the meat shallow, because I just knew that weren't going to work, I fed some 8mm on it, underarmed a method feeder on it, and it had 3 carp on it. So I actually think maybe if I went back on the bottom and was a bit more patient, I might have caught some carp on that. But I ended up catching 3 on the method feeder underneath, and this is just a 10-foot Superior rod, 8-pound sinking feeder mono mainline. It's robust. I've never actually had it break on a fish yet. So 8-pound sinking feeder mono, and I've just got that to a swivel because you're allowed fixed feeders at Larford. And I've just got a long stem with 15 hollow elastic in, and a large 20-gram feeder. That's really, really important. The large weight of it, obviously the area, the circumference of it, it doesn't sink into the silt as much as a small one does. And when I've been fishing over loads of 8mm, I want them to pick out my pile of bait quite fast. So I like a big feeder Lots of bait there, so I feel like I get a faster bite like that. And I've just got 0.21, 4 inches of it to a 12 circle hook to a bayonet and just a little quick stop. And I've just been fishing with a 6mm yellow wafter on that, and that went round a few times, so that was nice. Got me out of trouble when I didn't really know what to do when the skimmer's gone. Luckily I had 3 carp on it, so that was good. It's a good little bonus to have today. And then finally the edge fishing, the most enjoyable bit of the day. As I'm talking to you now, I'm watching a million tails along the bank. They're crafty fish, but this rig, no messing around on this. This is 17 hollow elastic, 0.24 power line main line, so that is really, really robust, never ever breaking. I've just got a 2 number 8 back shot on him. I've got a 4x12 edge float on now, but when I was fishing earlier, before I had my rig malfunction, it was a 0.3 diamond float. The tip is really, really important with edge floats. Like, this is a 3.5mm bristle. You don't want something that's going to waft under at the smallest indication, so you need a really thick bristle. That's 3.5mm. It's actually 3.5mm on the other float I've been using as well. Fiberglass stem, because when it's bending around the big carp in the landing net, you don't want your float to break. It's really robust, never ever going to break. It's actually an inline float, this is as well, and the other one is, so you don't have your eye pulling out. So 0.24 main line, as I said, just a bulker number 8 stots next to the hook length, and I've just got 4 inches of 0.21 to a size 10 eyed hook. And I love eyed hooks when bagging down the edge, because I know when I'm fishing such thick hook length that it's never going to slip off the spade. It can't just pull off. So I think that's really, really good. And as you've seen, when there's a few just wallowing in the edge, like when you hook them, you can get them, if you pull them a little bit, they come towards you, you can net them really, really fast. So that's really, really important to me. It's just an eyed size 10 hook. And as you can see, all my elastics today, they've all had this droopy bit of elastic here at the end. And like I was describing earlier, it's just so when you're fishing shallow venues and they run off. I've had one run off in the edge today, and it's probably 18 pound, where it went and bottomed me out. So if I didn't have this much extra elastic, it's probably 2 or 3 meters extra stretch. It might have broke me. So I think that's really, really important now, and a good little tip for all my carp fishing top kits. So that's the rigs. Yet to weigh in, and when we've weighed in, we'll have a little conclusion and see where we've come. Hopefully we've done enough to win, but I don't think I have personally. I think I've got about 170 pounds, so nice day's fishing, great day's fishing, and we'll see where we end up. So I've actually ended up weighing exactly what I predicted, 172 pounds I have. And it was actually enough to win this bank. Ray next to me, who I thought was close to me, had 160 something. So it was close, one big edge fish in it really, but chuffed to have won the bank. Don't know if I've won the match yet, but I've had a great day's fishing as expected at Larford. Now, some of them edge fish are incredible. So I've put 4 in one of my nets and they've weighed 65 pounds, which is an incredible stamp of fish. Brilliant day's fishing. Only thing I'd have done differently today, like I could tell my meat shallow line weren't going to work like early on, because I was catching a few, too many roach and too many little fish. Like it never really went good all day, and to be honest I probably should have sacked that line off earlier, fed 8mm on it, because when I did it late on, too late on really, because that's the time I should have been fishing in the edge. But when I did it I caught 3 carp over it, and I think I hooked one and lost one as well. And I think if I did that earlier in the day, I would have had an odd bigger bream on it, because they seem to like 8mm. I would have caught an odd bigger bream, maybe an odd carp more or 2 early on extra. So if 180, 190 pound wins, I'll be a bit disappointed. So that's what I'd have changed from a match. My edge fishing went quite well. They were easy to catch to start within the edge. They come in, swirled, I went straight under, caught them. Then I had a little spell in the middle where it was iffy. But then in the last 6 minutes, incredibly, I've had 3 carp. So brilliant day's fishing. Hopefully I've done enough to win the match, and yeah, I'll see you on the bank sometime soon.